Minister Emmanuel, uh, can you give give me a status of the SCDF? A couple of weeks ago, I wrote about this, that you have asked certain members of the board to resign. And then can you make some comments about the explosive letter that was published and all the information in there regarding the Vida Nova funds and the homes you plan to build?
Which one do you want answer first?
Give me them how you like.
Yes,
Keeping
well,
in mind that that was 2 questions.
there's actually 3.
Thank you, Minister.
Well, concerning Villanova, they will be here in May. They will be in St. Martin in May to give a full rundown. I received an email from them today stating that they will be signing an agreement and going over all the paperwork with the landowner and the contracts with the developer and stuff like that. I think that part of it is for them to explain how they're going to move forward with it. When I was in Curacao last, we came out and it was a done deal. Everything was set and is in motion concerning Villanova and the houses that are supposed to be built, the 167 homes that are supposed to be built in the Dawn Beach area. None of that answer suffice enough, but that's as far as it goes right now with the project with Villanova. They're in discussions right now with the landowner and the developer, and they sent me a message this morning saying that that's the trajectory that they are on right now, finalizing that agreement. Concerning the explosive letter, that's just what it is for me, an explosive letter, and there's nothing much I can comment on it. There's no name to it. There's no, that's just what it is, an explosive letter. And again, concerning what Minister Lee said a while ago, I think journalists and media houses has a role to play to give factual information and accurate information, because I can go and dissect that whole article and I can tell you maybe 99% of the information is absolutely not true. But is it something that I want to get into? No, because I am moving forward and staying focused with what I told the people of St. Martin and where I'm going with this project, and that's not a distraction to me one bit. And the other one was concerning the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation. You know, I said it before that there's a fundamental problem, in my opinion, in the way the management is functioning at the St. Martin Housing Foundation. I met a gentleman this morning, and he was telling me, Christopher, in the next 2 days will be a year since I paid down to purchase a home. In the next 2 days will make a year. He hasn't moved in to the home as yet, and all they're telling him is that a letter is at the minister's cabinet to sign. And I was troubled by it because I'm trying to figure out what letter are they talking about? What letter are they talking about? So in reference, they took the gentleman's money, $8,000. He paid on the home. The banks are calling him. And I'm talking about in the next 2 days, which means I was last year, April 21st it was. And here we are today in April 2017. He hasn't moved into the home as yet. So I send him up to the staff to meet, and we are trying to figure out what are they talking about? What letter are they talking about? Come to realize, yes, they did send a letter, which was from since last year. June, they sent a letter, which reached the cabinet in March of this year for a rendering, a change of purpose. Why? Because the land in which they built the homes were for apartments, and they went and they built standalone homes. So you need a change of purpose because the land is designated only for apartments, and now you change it for standalone homes. And yes, the letter was there, but we had no knowledge of what it's for because it came in last month, something that was sent from last year. But what I'm looking at is the manner in which you treat people, because you can't go and build on property without getting all your permits first. If you knew that you can't build standalone homes on the designated property, why did you go and build it before getting the change of purpose? That's how it works. So you took the money, build the home, have the gentleman waiting a whole year to move in to a home. And he can't because he hasn't received, or you haven't received, the change of purpose from apartments to a standalone homes. And those are some of the problems and some of the issues that I'm having in the manner in which this foundation is being managed. I've had discussions with a few of the board members, and they have indicated that they will make their position available, and I'm giving them time to do that.
Thank you very much, Minister, for those answers. Cedric, do I have my other question?
Go right ahead.
Okay, Minister Gibson, can you tell us what is the status of the Pearl of China, and with the restriction now that suddenly surfaced in the deed, can that be fixed?
Everything could be fixed if there's goodwill and cooperation. The issue is that the deed of the land only allows a limited amount of construction of units, while the plans of Pearl of China was to build more units than the deed allowed. So clearly parties have to get together to figure this out and to negotiate some kind of arrangement to see if the Pearl in China can get the number of units they desire.
Thank you very much for your questions in this round, Bibi. Andrew Dick, the Daily Herald. Good morning. You have the floor.
Good morning to all ministers. Minister Lee, concerning the Labor Day celebration, if anything, are there any plans from the ministry with that concern? I haven't heard anything from you, and me first is just around the corner.
Thanks for the question. Last year we worked together with the Chamber of Unions, and they handled all of the organization of the Labor Day, and that worked well. I do know that there are plans for some events, but they're handling all the organization. They've done a spectacular job with it last year, and so I don't see why you change what's already working.
Okay. Thank you. Minister Gibson, concerning the investigation, the appeal from Mr. Trump, any update where that's concerned?
No, there's no update. There has been no further information. I do not know if an appeal was filed and where that stands. No information has reached me on that.
Okay. And Minister Emmanuel, concerning the homes, I understand that you met with the union, the communications union, and they had some requests. Can you tell us a little bit about that meeting?
Well, I haven't met with the union, but the president of the union, I think his name is Mr. Avers. Yeah, he called me because what happened is Telem, GEBE, and UTS are all clients of Villanova. And when the story came out, they called Villanova. And they said to Villanova, look, listen, we heard that this is what is going to happen in St. Martin, and Villanova indicated that, yes, this is their intentions and the way they move forward. And they said, well, you need to instruct the minister, or you need to let the minister know that we want first preference to the homes. But you have to bear in mind, Andrew, is that what is happening here is unprecedented. It have never been done before, where the people of St. Martin is being offered home ownership and not necessarily renting a home. I'm talking about having your notary fees included, your first 5 years home insurance included. These are sort of the discussions I was having with Villanova. And Villanova realized that they have made a mistake, because in their calculations, they have more than 167 clients. And they asked me, do you have a problem with that, giving them first preference? And I said, yes. I said, because the whole idea is simply for first-time home owners. I never said nothing about civil servants. I never said nothing about low-income homes. I never said nothing about social homes. I said affordable homes for first-time home owners. Now there are many individuals in GB, in Telem, and UTS who already have a home. So am I going to say, What about your person, Andrew, who probably doesn't have a home and qualify for the home? Should I say, no, Andrew, you can't, it can't happen for you because I got to make preference our first choice to a Villanova client. However, the consensus and the agreement that we came to was we're gonna set aside between 60 to 80 homes for the first-time homeowners of all Villanova clients. And because of that, now they was like, okay, well, we didn't know. And I told them, well, this is what happens when you don't invest. When your laws and your bylaws say you should invest 60% of your earnings in the countries where you're collecting their pension. I mean, yes, you invested in the harbor and you invested in the causeway, but that's not invested in people. And that's the problem that I had with Villanova, and there's where the discussion took part. You have to invest in people. You're taking their pension. GEBE have been with them from the inception, from what, 40, how old is GEBE? 40-something, 50-something years? That's their main core client, they said, from the beginning of GEBE. They have been paying pension into Villanova. And because of that, now Villanova bought a bank in Curacao. So you have a Villanova bank in Curacao that's giving mortgages. We are talking about 5%, 4.5% that we will introduce into the people. They want to come to St. Martin. They will be coming to St. Martin. And that's the discussions that I had with them. So yes, I spoke to him and he's pleased with it, that some of the homes will be reserved, if I should say, for the first time home owners. Yes.
It's Carnival time again, and here are a few tips you need to remember.
Make use of a designated driver or public transportation. Make sure that you know where your kids are at all times and they are safe.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Police Force of St. Martin and the Department of Communication.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for your questions. Bibi, you have the floor.
Thank you, Cedric. Minister Lee, thanks for that nice lecture for the media. It was good, and I'm very happy that you mentioned the email. So it was indeed, there was an email. Now, for my questions, Minister Lee, can you tell me if the agreement that was made between whichever party, whether it's SZV and VAMED, the settlement agreement, if that has finalized and if VAMED was paid, if so, by whom?
Let me first go back to your comment because I'm not sure if I touched on this in my discussions. You know, number one, you speak about an email. The email's from what I can tell, I'm not sure if this is the same email that you're talking about, but I presume that it is. You know, this is an internal email from the Ministry of TIAT, so there's a concern about how this goes out in the first place, because our partners should be able to work with the ministries with the confidence of knowing that what they're communicating it remains within the ministry. And you know, this has the risk of damaging the relationship between St. Martin and key strategic partners. But in the same email that I suspect is the one that you're talking about, it talks about comment from the tourist office. However, given the approval lies with the Minister of Tourism and / Council of Ministers, we cannot guarantee the request will be approved any faster. This is before CHTA Marketplace. And in their response, they say, we understand that the approval for the proposal wouldn't be coming immediately. However, we look forward to getting your approval / comments soon as we can to start the advertising as soon as possible. Again, all of this discussions from before even going to CHTA Marketplace. So they're well aware of the process. So that is to your comment about the email. And about the settlement, I'm not sure what the status is. I've been traveling for a few days. I suspect it should be finalized, but I haven't gotten a confirmation of that.
Do you know who would be paying it? I asked them.
Well, since VAMED took SZV to court, the settlement would be paid by SZV, but would be incorporated into the total project costs for the new hospital, which again, I'd like to remind the population that when we came into the office, we were talking about a no-bid project for around $105 million, right? So we're talking about a project that now went through a very open and transparent bidding process, a process which, by the way, in my conversations in Holland were very well received. And I think because it went through such an open and transparent process, they feel comfortable supporting the project in spirit and hopefully with financing dollars. So we're talking about a difference of, what is that, $45 million, right? So let's just put things into perspective. And what would we save on an annual basis? You know, just being able to open the hospital 1 year earlier, we spend $20 to $30 million guilders on referrals abroad. If we can keep 70% of those referrals on island, that generates another industry for our island. It means that the money circulates locally instead of abroad in some other foreign country, right? It means that we can start moving ahead with our national health insurance scheme because we have an idea what our base costs are going to be, right? It means that we stop paying legal fees for a continued and protracted battle. And even if we won the appeal, it could easily take over a year or more. And as Minister Gibson points out correctly, that with our court system, you have no idea what the judgments finally may be. And so even if you win the appeal and it takes you a year, then you're looking at penalty charges of probably well over the discussions that we're talking about what the settlement was for. So, and then besides the money, and the money all adds up, it all makes sense. How do you put a dollar value to the health of our population? I have people who come to me on a daily basis talking about their family members who are in need of care. We send people abroad for diagnosis. We should be able, I understand that we may not be able to treat everybody locally, that we may not have the facilities to treat everybody locally, but we should be able to diagnose what's wrong with our people here, right? How do you put a dollar value to the health of our population and having a hospital which is about 3 to 4 times the facilities that we have now? We literally have people doing physical therapy in the hallways, and you got boxes stored in the hallways. You got nurses on rolling desks doing their paperwork in the hallways. What is this? This is crazy. How do you put a dollar value to that, right? So if you ask me, I don't like it. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but in the best interest for the country and for the people, it's the right choice to make.
My other question would be, can you tell us, and you're right about the hospital and having a hospital, but a hospital, in my view, is a building. What we're looking at is healthcare, proper healthcare with proper specialists and doctors that you might agree with. So now I'm asking you about the audit for that you announced in February that will take place by IVSA and IGZ. Do you have a date by now when this audit will take place?
I have not. This is in the hands of the inspectorate right now. I have not gotten an update as to when they're planning to conduct that. I can tell you that the consultant from Van Kemenade is on island now and having very positive meetings already, and exactly aimed at what you're looking at is the hospital is simply, it is a building. It is the cornerstone of our healthcare industry. But we are looking at the entire healthcare chain, from the family doctors to the referral process to how our insurance functions, the entire chain, how we get our specialists approved. How do we don't have a problem sending our patients to Colombia for treatment, and they get excellent care. But yet when we want to bring specialists from abroad, it's cumbersome. So how do we revise our legislation for our BIC legislation to make sure that we can access the quality of physicians that we're looking for? How do we build partnerships with other hospitals that can help not only with specialists but also with administrative staff to help the hospital to improve exactly what we're talking about, protocols, procedures, staffing, training. All of these are things that we're looking at. So, but we needed the hospital in first. Now that we have clarity and that's moving forward, We are working on everything else simultaneously to make sure we deliver the best quality care to the people of the country that's affordable and close to home.
Thank you, Minister. As per the email you read, it's the wrong email. I'll make sure you get it correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Bibi, for your questions. Andrew has no questions remaining in this second round, so I thank members of the media for your participation in today's Council of Ministers press briefing. And to the honorable ministers of the Council, thank you very much for updating us on matters related to your respective ministries. Of course, to our television viewers, thank you for tuning in and being a part of the Council of Ministers press briefing for today.